What's up, everyone? Welcome to ACL Live. It's Michelle Thompson here with Bernie, and we are on another episode of ACL Live to prepare for the first national.
It's here. It's finally here. Corpus Christi, Texas. Let's go.
Yeah, long time coming. Obviously, last week we went over some of our people to watch, and since we don't have brackets, Bernie and I were kind of like, well, what do we want to do with this week's episode? And Bernie had a great idea. So tell him what you got, Bernie.
I figured, we've gone through the players. Why not? Let's have some guests live. We haven't really had a lot of guests on this show. Whether it's been you, Trey, Wally, whomever's been hosting with me, we've just never brought on some live guests. I mean, it's different, right? Like on all our other shows, they're taped.
Yeah.
It seems live, and most of the time we can get through it. It's no big deal. But if there's a mistake or someone says something they may not have wanted to say, we can always go back and redo it. And that is not the case tonight. So it will be live. So the pressure is on.
Not just that. I think most importantly is everyone in the chat, you can post your questions for the people we bring on. So I'll be watching the chat over here to the side, and feel free to type in any questions you want us to ask our guests.
Yeah, Michelle's the moderator. So don't be silly. Because your question won't get there. No, I'm just saying you're going to moderate. You're not just going to take in any question.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Just to be clear. But the brackets will come out after rounders. Rounders will take place Thursday evening. Brackets will get dropped, I guess, later that night or early Friday morning, something like that.
And it depends on honestly, how the directors want to do it. I mean, it could be that night. I'm sure they would rather do it that night, but you never know, depending how long it takes.
So, yeah, we won't really know what's going on until Friday morning in terms of brackets. Excited to get into that. I'm going to ask each of our guests here, too, if they look at those brackets, because I've heard both. I've heard people that say, I don't look at them. I don't want to know. I just want to go up and play. And other people who want to know who they're playing.
I think it's dangerous, don't you? Because I think you could get caught, especially if you're a player that really wants to make a splash. And you're like, oh, man, I really want to make a deep run. Oh, no, Devin Harbaugh is there 2 rounds. If I win 2 games, I got to play Devin or Jamie or Tanner or Alex or whomever, right? That can be dangerous because then you're not thinking about the player that you have to play immediately to start the match, to start the tournament. So I think that can be a little dangerous. I think I know that I would get caught looking at the bracket.
Same.
However, I think the smarter thing to do would be just like, all right, this is who I play. I know they throw this style. I know they throw this bag. I know this is how their game works. That's all I'm going to focus on right now. But I think it's human nature. Kind of take a peek, see how that path might work out for you.
I will tell you, like in my local league, I don't look when I make it kind of far into the bracket. I just don't look because I'm like, I know I'll get into my head about it. And it's better if I just walk up and I don't look at how far I am in the bracket. I just keep throwing and rolling with it. So that's kind of my style.
I think if I won a couple of games, and if I was, let's say I'm not one of the top 20, top 30 players in the world, but I've won a couple of games and I've taken one of those folks out, right? My bracket's kind of, I think I might take a look like, here I am, it's all house money at this point, but what's on the horizon for me? I think I would start looking then like intently. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, just so you guys know the lineup, after this commercial, we're going to bring Alex Hicks and his mom on to join us to be able to chat. So if you have questions for Alex, you can start writing those in. After that, we'll have Tanner Halbert on, and then after that, Devin Harbaugh. So definitely stay tuned for all of our guests. We're going to take a quick commercial and come back with Alex right after this. We are back, and it is time for our first guest to join us, Bernie. And I don't have the Jeff McCarriger introduction prepared, so and he really sets the bar high. I know he really sets it high.
He's so good at it. He's so good at it,
and I am not. But without further ado, let's bring on Alex Hicks to join us as our first guest. Welcome, Alex. Oh, gotta unmute yourself. There we go.
There he is.
How's
Greetings,
it going?
guys.
Good. Hello.
All right, look, I'm going to jump in first. I've got a triple-part question. All right?
Whoa.
This is going to be, well, it's actually really simple, and it involves both of you. Alex, what grade are you in?
7th.
Nice. 7th grade. Have you yet rolled into, what's 7th grade, like a civics class, and just rolled up to a girl named Elizabeth and said, hey, I'm one of the best in the world at what I do. Mall, movie, Saturday, what time we meeting? Have you done that yet?
Not yet.
Not yet, he says.
But this is actually for Mom. And I don't know if you remember, but a couple of years ago in Austin, Texas, when Alex and Trey Birchfield won that doubles and open doubles, I talked to you briefly.
Yes.
And I was like, you better get ready, because the future is going to be pretty busy with that kid, because everyone could see it. Everyone could see how good he was. And to be able to withstand the pressure moments in the game to win that championship match was just massive. Have you personally noticed a change in your son? Is he different now than he was, say, 2 years ago? Is he more mature? Because he's dealing with adults. He's beating adults in an adult game, so to speak. So have you seen a maturity level that's different from just the regular maturation at that age?
Socially, I remember some of these interviews early on, and the answers were always, yeah, no, I think so, maybe, those kind of answers. And as he's, had more experience and kind of more into it, he actually can carry on a conversation better. And, people are curious. They want to know the details and kind of behind the scenes, which is so cool. You guys do this for people to get to know people a little better and get to know the players. And I think that's kind of been a big change socially, to walk by, I'll see him kind of nudge somebody or kind of tease them, tap their shoulder and walk, little things like that. So it's been fun for him to really let people see his personality instead of just, straight business and kind of shy. He's really come out of his shell. And like you say, it is a lot of adults there, very few kids. So it's been fun to see him interact respectfully yet playfully, So
Sure.
it's been good for him socially. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
But we got a question in the chat.
Uh-oh.
How cool do Alex's friends think he is?
Some of them think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, some of them give you a hard time. Some like, whatever, cornhole. Do you get that at school?
Get what?
Do you ever get like guys just like not willing to let you know how cool it actually is? Like, whatever. It's just cornhole, man. Whatever.
No big deal.
There was one big tournament he won. I can't remember which one it was. Maybe it was one of the opens, and his music teacher, I think it was, found out that he had won. And so on the morning announcements in front of the entire middle school announces that about this successful weekend that he had. And his teacher at the time said he just kind of melted into his chair like,
that's brutal. That is absolutely brutal.
I do not
it.
want this attention. Please do not do this here. But a lot of them tease him, call him the baby goat. They'll holler out at him when we pull up in the mornings for school and stuff. So it's been kind of fun.
All right. Well, let me ask a serious question, Alex, to you and your cornhole play. Now, this is the first national of this season. You have been an open warrior. You are a top 20 player in the world, if not higher than that, really. You got, the professor, Anthony Ione, is talking about you as possibly a world champion. Do you feel that this national season into the world championships, it's kind of time for you to take that step forward? Because everyone knows who you are now in this game. You're the baby goat. Everyone knows exactly how good you are. Do you feel any pressure that it's time for you to take that next step and, at least make a broadcast in the national, let alone maybe win one?
Yeah, I think all my big wins have came just from the open side, and I haven't really done shot my best at the nationals, but I think I'm ready to.
Awesome.
I would agree. All right,
Perfect
another question from the chat. Does Alex have chores around the house?
Yeah, I have a few.
And my joke is, you can hit a cornhole bag from 27 feet in front of a lot of people with a lot of people watching live, but his socks do not always make the laundry basket. That is.
Alex, don't listen to that. Mine's still doing. I'm 52 years old. I'm never making that shot. Don't worry about it. Pass it off. Does Alex ever walk in, feel, doesn't really feel like doing some of his chores? He's like, hey, Mom, here's 20. Help me out.
It's harder to bribe him with, chore money every week like I used to be able to do. My funds don't quite, compare.
Carry the weight. What about other sports, Alex? Are you playing any other sports right now?
I've played basketball in the past, but I think it had just been too busy this year to play.
How about your esports? Or aren't you a fairly big gamer?
Yeah, I play Fortnite a little bit, and I've been playing the ACL game a little bit too.
By the way, isn't one of those announcers awesome in the video game?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Is that the best part? All right. What question from the chat? What do you think Ryan Windsor brings to the table to help your game moving forward?
I think he's a great mentor to have on the other end, always throwing back down to me.
He is, and he's invested in you, so I think you're good there. Are you saving money to buy a house someday, Alex?
I just save it for whenever I need it.
That's right. Just let the player play. If I need some money, that's when no. All right, I got a question. I too, obviously, was always one of the shorter people around when I was playing sports. Obviously, playing basketball wasn't hard to find me. Just find the shortest guy on the court. Do you find that affects you at all with the way you play? Because your angle of attack has to be a little different because you are a little shorter. Does just being short have any effect on you, or is it just kind of natural? That's how you've always been, so that's how you've always played.
Yeah, I don't really notice anything since I've always been around the same height.
I got a random.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
We can officially share shoe sizes now, so there's definitely been a growth spurt in the last year.
That's a big change.
Yeah, right.
By the way, write that down. Alex can wear his mom's shoes.
Cannot.
It's more like me borrowing him, actually.
To be clear. We got a who's your favorite uncle question in the chat. That seems like I'm setting you up to fail there.
Ryan Willis.
Oh, okay. Do you only have one? Or do you just already know who's saying? just to be clear.
That's funny.
Yeah, don't wear your mom's shoes is what we're getting from the chat there.
So, do you find it at all, like how cool is it? Because I've noticed you always have family members there, and that has to mean, obviously, you're going to have at least one, but there seems to always be a group there with you as much as they can make it. Does that kind of ground you? Does that make you feel better knowing that they're there for you?
Yeah, I like it that they can always go live for me. They're pretty good at commentating.
Oh, good commentators. All right. That's a big compliment.
Even if I confuse the different, may not know the difference between a drag or a push or, I sometimes those seem to be the same to me.
You must do okay.
All right. Well, speaking of that, Alex, do you do a lot of film study? I know now that the game's getting more and more serious, we've had some pros come on, either Borderline or some other shows. That was a shameless plug, by the way. We've had some, and they've talked about that. Like now, they do film study. They go back and they watch the matches that they've played, and they kind of, look at what they're doing, what they've done wrong, what they've done right, and what they can improve. Do you do any of that, or just go with the flow?
I don't usually go back and watch myself, but on ACL TV, I go back and watch some from a while back and some recent ones.
Right on.
Question in the chat: what's your favorite shot to throw?
Probably the roll shot.
Yeah, that seems right.
How long did it take you to learn that, by the way?
I think one time I hit it like on accident or something. Then I started like practicing it a little bit. It didn't take too long to get down, but it probably
Well,
a few
all
weeks
right.
or so.
How long would you say it took you from, all right, playing, like first starting cornhole, first starting to play, till you realized, man, I'm really good at this? Like, how long was that, or was it very long?
I think I had been playing in the yard for like a year or two, and then Kyle Hutley, my pro partner last season, took me to a tournament, and a bunch of people saw that I was actually pretty good. Then it just slowly carried on, tournament after tournament.
Awesome.
So you're known for being like really good under pressure, Alex. You don't really have big reactions, big responses. Do you just not feel that, or are you just really good at controlling that?
I feel it a little bit, but
We get a few fist bumps, and I try
Yeah.
to catch them on. In fact, one of the best pictures was from the Open with Trey Birchfield you mentioned down in Texas. Was that last year? Or 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
We've got a really good kind of a fist bump kind of shot from that, but you don't, not very often. There was one with Matt Guy. It wasn't on the main court, but it was leading up to the main court. That was in Albuquerque. I think we got a good fist bump
no,
after.
I think that was in Florida at the Open this season.
Oh, was it Florida?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's like the good stuff, right? But I think the one that is a little bit more difficult for people is the bad stuff, right? Like you're down or you miss a shot. Like you don't really ever see you lose control there. And that's not easy for most people to do. And I was just wondering if you could feel it and you're like, I'm not going to let this be expressed. I'm going to control it. Or if you just don't really necessarily feel it that strongly.
Yeah, I used to feel it a lot, but slowly, as I went to bigger tournaments, I got better at controlling it.
That speaks volumes about your parents, by the way, because when I was your age, I would have been breaking everything in there if I threw one bad bag. I would have been an absolute terror. So kudos, Mom, because Alex is I mean, it's tough to be composed. It really is. I mean, you've seen it. Alex, you see it all the time around certain players, and the F-bombs start dropping and throwing bags, and everyone
Bags
gets
are
upset.
being thrown, chairs are being kicked.
Yeah. And those are the adults in the room, right? I mean, so I think it's awesome that you're able to kind of compose yourself, because it takes a lot. I think it takes a lot to be that composed.
Thank you.
I think with
What about
him and
go ahead.
Ryan Windsor, they both have kind of similar composures that way. And as he said, what a great mentor he is. And just like last year, what a great mentor Kyle was. It's nice to have somebody at the other end kind of, even keeled and frustrated, at times, but under control frustration. Yeah.
What about like endurance, Alex? A lot of people complain about not being able to make it through an entire tournament weekend. It's long days, lots of games. Your games can go very long as well. Do you do anything to prepare for having the endurance or stamina to make it through long games?
Usually I just have a Dr. Pepper.
Okay,
Right
sponsorship to come.
Right on. All right. Here's one for you. Who is your besides Ryan and Kyle, let's say, who's your favorite player to watch?
I'd probably say Devin Harbaugh or maybe Eric Davis. They're both crazy.
Me too.
Those are a couple players I talk about a lot.
Yeah. I mean, just the stuff they can do, right? And like, do you ever think about it? I mean, as good as you are, do you ever see them hit shots sometimes and you're like, well, how do you do that?
Yeah,
Like,
it's crazy how low and hard and precise they can throw it.
Agreed.
Absolutely. Oh, they've renamed you Dr. Pepper Baby Goat. I think that sponsorship is one you should go after, Alex.
Absolutely. Someone get them on the horn tomorrow.
That'd be awesome.
All right. Bernie, you got one more question before we wrap up here?
I do. All right. So, Alex, what would you say in your own head you would feel good about, like, where you finish in this tournament? Is it winning a bracket? Is it making a broadcast? Is it, getting to the king seat game? Is it winning the whole thing? How far do you need to get to where Alex Hicks feels good about this national?
I think either probably like top 5 or top 3 would be a pretty good run.
That would be a pretty good run.
Agreed.
I'd say so. All right, Alex, it's been real. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to take a quick commercial break and come back with Tanner Halbert. So get your questions ready for Tanner, and we'll see you guys later this week.
Good luck, Alex.
Thanks. Bye.
Welcome back, and we are ready to bring on our next guest, the one and only Tanner Halbert. Let's bring him on. What's up, Tanner?
What's up, guys? How are you doing?
Doing well.
Pretty
Don't you miss Jeff McCarriger being able to give you like a paragraph of Tanner's greatest hits as an introduction? We're just like, hey, Tanner, welcome.
Hey, there's this guy. We should talk to him. He's kind of cool.
Jeff does a good job introducing people.
Yes, he does. And we all fail in comparison. That's okay. That's what Jeff is for. We value him. But no, one of the big questions, Tanner, coming into this first national is what's this team going to be like? How's Easy throwing?
I mean, I spoke to him yesterday. They had a regional this past weekend. Told me he threw great. I think he said he like fifth in singles. Lost 2 close games, but he threw over a 10 PPR wise, and same for doubles. They didn't have a good finish in doubles, but he said he threw well. They lost 2 tough teams again. Up in that area, a lot of good players in Louisville. That not even Louisville area, people that come and play from Cincinnati, wherever. A lot of tough competition there. So, but he told me he's been playing well. So, we're looking forward to it and see what happens.
Nice.
Tanner, last season, coming in, people like myself and a few others, we kind of were on the Tanner Halbert hype machine, right? We were kind of saying, like, watch out, here comes this amazing season. Don't be surprised if he's a national winner, maybe even a world champion. You still finished, 7th in singles in the world, which is
6th.
Pretty darn good. So you're a top 10 player in the world, so still pretty good. But did you feel any of that expectation? And do you feel like even though you're still as highly ranked as you are, you don't have the eyes on quite like you had last season coming in? So maybe there's a little more freedom for you. Do you feel that way at all?
I always have high expectations for myself. I've been playing this game for a long time, so I have high expectations. Last year I played great all year. I knocked on the door all year long and getting a win. I made a couple of TV broadcasts, just could never close it out. Case might have been I didn't throw that well, or they outthrew me. It just didn't work out for me. It didn't. I knocked on the door all year long. So that's going to be one of my main goals this year is getting, I'm getting at the doorstep and tripping, and you just walk through the door and break through and get the win. I got a few wins, but, starting this year, I haven't really done anything great. Played well, but haven't done anything great yet. Last year, played well, finished well, didn't do anything spectacular. So that's going to be the main goal this year, is trying to break through and get one of those wins.
Yeah, you could make the argument, pretty unlucky at times last year too. You had some breaks that just didn't go your way. Just bad luck. Honestly, you can say Salt Lake City, you're a bad break away from television, right?
Yep.
And then who knows how you throw on the broadcast. So could have been special. Like, what is there anything in your play that you think you need to, like, and we're talking such small margins at this point, is there anything that you can do to kind of minimize, your is there any way is there any way to kind of hone it in just to make that next level? Because it's one thing to make the leap, let's say, from 150 in the world to top 75.
Yeah.
It's another thing to go from top 75 to top 25. Where you are in the air that you breathe in this game, it's super hard to start climbing another place where you are. So is there anything in your game that you feel you can ratchet up just a touch?
My game just in general, I feel like it's been pretty good. I haven't been playing as much as most people are. Trying balance the family life, the work life, all that good stuff. But we did have a regional yesterday and played well. I think the main thing for me is going to be the mental game. Trying to just if something doesn't go my way, I need to try to just compose myself and hold it in, because I play with a lot of emotion at times, and good or bad. So I think that might be the main thing, trying to hold that composure. And if something doesn't happen that I wanted to, or something happened for them that shouldn't have happened, or, whatever the case may be, the main thing I think for sure is probably the mental part.
Do you notice a difference in like your thoughts or your feelings when you're on a broadcast court, like on TV, versus just at a regular court? Like, can you notice the difference in your body or in your brain?
It's not really, there's not much of a difference. I play the same on a regular court versus TV court, the live stream. I'm going to play the same. I think just that might have been what was holding me back last year. So I'm going to try to, just be more positive during the game, or something along those lines. Try to keep my energy up, don't get down, I might be down, 7 or 8 points. Don't get down on yourself, just try to stay positive and fight back and get a win.
We got a question from the chat here. When people hear the name Tanner Halbert, what do you hope their first thought is about you as a competitor?
That I'm a fierce competitor on the boards, but, I'll be your best friend off the board, on the golf course, wherever. But, when I step to the board, it's for real. And off the board, I'll be your best friend. I'll hang out with you. I'm a family man, like to do stuff with my family, so it's kind of.
Yeah.
What do you feel about the direction in the game? And what I mean by that is it's gotten so dirty, the style of play. Especially with a lot of the kids coming up. It's first bag block, it's roll bags. It seems like almost as if the whole is forgotten except for one shot in a round. And do you like that, or do you kind of want to be the guy that says, "Hey, man, I just the games, put bags in the hole. That's what I'm going to do."
Yeah, I'm not a roll guy. I've practiced it a little bit. It's not very consistent. I can't do it. I can't do it on demand like a lot of people. If the boards are sticky, obviously it's a lot easier for me to do it. But if it's fast boards, there's most likely not going to attempt any of them, But for me, I'm going to play my game. They can play their game. A lot of times they block, I'm going to back block, and I'm going to shoot airmails. Or if they don't get a perfect block, I can step out to the side and slide around, because I'm usually throwing, not super fast, but faster bags, something that's going to get around stuff easier than, people throwing these carpet bags but I'm still going to play my game, and I'm going to let them play their game, and, we'll see who comes out on top.
I'll kind of ask you the same question I did with Alex Hicks. What do you do to help yourself continue that stamina or that endurance? Because it's a question we get asked a lot when I have questions for pros. Like, how do you last through a whole weekend, through a whole day, and not lose it at the end when you need it the most?
Staying hydrated is a good thing. Whichever way you want to stay hydrated. For me, it's usually water or Gatorade or something like that. But for me, staying hydrated and not throwing too much. There's a lot of people that, as soon as they're done playing, they'll stand there and throw till the next team or next person comes up to play their game. And then they go sit down. As soon as they see open board, they go up and throw. I don't like doing that. I'll go play my game. If I had a bad game, I might stay there and throw a couple rounds. If I had a good game, I'm just going to take my stuff and go on about my day. And then, if there's a long, if I go look at the bracket, I'm like, wow, I'm going to be waiting a while. I'll periodically get up and just go throw maybe for 5 minutes, 10 minutes max, just to keep the arm kind of loose. But that's probably the main thing. I'm not going to stand out there and just keep throwing a bunch of bags. That's going to wear your arm out. At least for me, it does. So not throwing too much and staying hydrated for me.
I think that's a great answer because, what you just said is so very true. You'll see people, they never stop throwing. Mm-hmm. And at some point, like you just said, hey, if I'm playing well, why don't I just leave that in my arm? Because I'm sure that there have been people that have been playing well, keep throwing, all of a sudden, it's kind of like in golf, right? You're playing and all of a sudden the dreaded S word pops in and you can't get rid of it, right? Like it's there. It's like it's stuck there. I would imagine you're throwing bags, you've been playing really well all day and you're screwing around trying to keep warm and all of a sudden, oh no, I lost it. Where is it? That would be the worst. That would be the worst feeling. So I like that idea.
Well, especially because the deeper you get into a bracket, the better you need to play. So, trying to save that energy makes a lot of sense to me. And we were talking about this earlier. Do you look at the brackets ahead of time?
I do. I'm not looking at it, not necessarily just trying. I just look at it to look at it. It doesn't really bother me who I'm going to play. It doesn't bother me to know if I'm going to play them next or, whatever. I do look at the bracket to see who's on the same side as me, who I'm potentially going to have to play, stuff like that. But when I get to the board, I don't think about that. When I get to the board, it's about that game that I'm playing then. Because you got to win that game ultimately, to get to the next part. So there's no reason for thinking ahead if you can't get by the game that you're currently in.
Well, how about since we have to go through rounders in this first national to get the seeding, I don't think they would, but I'm curious, would players? There's no real reason to sandbag other than if you can kind of drop down, you might be able to take out that person seeded 1 and then get a little bit better draw going. I don't. Is that ever a thought from players? Do you hear them talking about that in rounders, or is it I want the 1 seed and the best way through?
Yeah, I don't.
Or does it even come up? Is that even a thought process?
Yeah, not for me. I'm going to go out there and try to do the best I can and win every game I can.
Right.
I think you might. It's hard to tell. It's all going to depend on the draws with the rounders who you play, especially like first rounds. You could get 2 powerhouse teams right off the bat, first round rounders. One of them's already going to have a loss. I don't know exactly how many rounds we're playing. I think 4, maybe 5.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
I know it's probably at least 4. I'd say 4 or 5 we're going to play. So, I'm not going to do it. It wouldn't be surprising if some other people try to do it. It's a common thing, and cornhole people do it all the time, sandbag, whatever you want to call it. But I don't know if there's really going to be an easy way around it. I think you just go out there and play your game and see where your seed falls and see who falls in your bracket. I think that's really the only thing you can do.
Yeah, because it's going to be, considering it's rounders and how rounders work, sometimes you just, it's a crazy situation sometimes the way the seeds come out.
Yeah.
You could have, because of rounders, some crazy brackets.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You could have some absolutely loaded brackets. Do you think, do you worry about that at all? Or is it just head down, I play who I play, is what it is?
I mean, you can get that with just random seeding too. So,
Yeah.
True.
I mean, I'm gonna, like I said, we'll just keep our heads down and play our game. And if we get a loaded bracket, we just gotta, you gotta play more good teams, to get to the end. And I mean, I feel like you're playing more teams that are good and you're beating them, then
You're doing well. Yeah.
you're helping yourself towards the end.
I would agree with that. Actually, talk about confidence a little bit. It's one of the things people ask all the time. I lack confidence, and obviously confidence comes from big wins. So can you remember back when you were first starting and you didn't have the big wins? How were you able to stay confident to get those wins?
I mean, I knew. So let's see. I've been playing cornhole for probably 10 years now. I started traveling and stuff playing about 8 years ago. First couple years, I realized, I wasn't, an elite level guy. I was kind of like a mid-range guy. I put the work in. I used to spend a lot of time practicing with my dad and two neighbors of ours. We threw in the backyard at my dad's house for 2 to 3 hours a night, 4 to 5 nights a week. A lot of people, what a lot of guys are doing, a lot of guys and girls are doing now.
Mm-hmm.
But that and doing all that practice got me kind of into the next level, closer to the top. And then, I started doing better at some tournaments, getting some higher finishes. And then, it just kind of, I didn't really have any big wins. And then, 2019, we were there in King of Prussia. And, I actually did a bag switch like 2 weeks before that tournament, switched to the all slides at that time. And I fell in love with the bags, and I actually didn't even own a set. I borrowed 2 sets. Actually, I borrowed 1 set to take with me to King of Prussia from a friend here in Lakeland. Took it with me, and, everybody knows what happened. I ended up so that was kind of, and once you can get the big win, it kind of does definitely help build your confidence. I was able to get some few more wins after that, but I haven't piled them on like a lot of people have. Mark, Alex, Windsor, Jamie, Matt. I haven't piled on the wins like everybody has. My win column is only like, I don't know, I think I have 5 titles or something, but I got a lot of seconds and thirds and fourths. I get there a lot. Like I was saying earlier, I get right to the door and trip. I just got to get through the door without falling over,
Well, all right. So I asked this question to Alex before we left last time. What would be a good tournament for Tanner Halbert? What would be a good tournament for Tanner and Easy? As far as, do you feel you've done a good job, let's say winning a bracket, making a broadcast, winning the national? What is that level that you feel, even if you don't win it all, like, it was still a pretty good tournament? What is that level for you?
Obviously, winning is the best thing. So next best for me, just for my personal self, if I could finish top 2 or 3 in my bracket, it wouldn't. I'm not going to be like, "Ooh, I finished 3rd in my bracket," but
right.
still, I still played good to be able to get there.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brackets, that's top 12.
Right.
Top 12 in this field is going to be pretty good. The field every year it gets tougher. So I mean, I feel like if we can do same goes for doubles. If we could do a top 2 or 3 in doubles, and I can do a top 2 or 3 in singles, it'll be a good starting point for the season. But obviously, ultimately, the goal is for everybody is to win. But if that doesn't happen, if we can finish top 2, top 3 in a bracket, I mean, I'll be happy.
Awesome. Well, we wish you all the luck, Tanner. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but we'll see you later this week.
Good luck, Tanner.
Thank you.
We are back with our final guest for our show today. Last but not least, you know, this guy is kind of good. You might have heard of him. Devin Harbaugh.
Yes, sir.
How are you guys doing?
Hey,
Doing well.
Devin.
Hey,
Welcome to the show. We're happy
thanks
to have
for
you.
having me. Thanks for having
Yep.
me.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and get it out of the way to start. Have you felt any pressure or any part of the Bernie Neighbors jinx yet for being the top pick in my power rankings? Have you felt that pressure yet?
No, not really. I'm trying not to let it get to me. Trying not to pay attention to it too much.
See, you didn't
But I
jinx him.
appreciate
Didn't jinx him yet. Watch out for the power of Bernie. No, I'm just kidding.
it.
I picked you, Devin, to win the first national, so you could blame me as well if you wanted to. But we were, going through the lines and everything, and I don't know if you noticed, but you started off at plus 1,500. You're now at plus 950 as of I think today, and Trey's point is that usually happens because people are betting on that person so much that they bring it down. So, I mean, big accomplishment for you. People have a lot of faith in you. Where's your confidence or faith in yourself at this point?
I'm feeling really good going into the weekend. Been practicing a lot, playing a lot, and I mean, the results have been speaking for themselves. I've been playing well at all the tournaments I've been going to, finishing well. So now I just need to do it on the national stage.
Does
What
that
would
feel
you-
different?
Does what feel? What's feel?
Going into a national versus another tournament? Is there any different feeling about that?
Yes and no. I mean, there is a little bit more of a meaning to it because, like, you have 250 plus of the best players in the country going at it in one event. So, like, you got to be on your game for sure.
Yeah.
What would you say is the difference for you? Because if you were to ask other professionals, if you were to ask cornhole fans, and you said, "All right, give me your top 5 most talented players," I think you would be on that list 9 times out of 10. Prior to this season, it would seem like Devin Harbaugh would make a run, and then there would be a little something that gets in the way. Like, do you feel that somehow something has clicked for you? Because you're now to the point where I wouldn't say fear is the right word, but I think other players are in a way they don't want you in their bracket, put it that way.
I mean, I've been working on my mental game a lot, especially in the off season. I found new ways to work on my mental game, even during games, during tournaments. I've been working more on that than what I have the actual game itself. And I think that's what's been benefiting me in the long run.
You know who loves that? You know who loves that? She's hosting this show with me. She loves that.
It's a big thing. It really is.
I'm so happy to hear that.
But what can you tell? Is it a secret, or can you kind of divulge a little bit of what you've been doing? Is it I know that meditating is really good for me when I'm kind of stressed. I mean, is it stuff like that, or is it a secret that you can't divulge?
I mean, I can somewhat explain it. It's hard to explain. So it's been different things. So I've read different books and stuff like that on how to work on your mental game and different aspects of when you're in tournament play, when you're practicing. And I've been trying to focus on the good things I do in my game instead of the bad. Because if you focus on just the bad, that's generally what you're going to start doing in the gameplay itself.
Perfect.
That's such an important and such a simple yet difficult thing to do, right? Because we're so critical of ourselves. So when you kind of tapped into that, was it easy to make that switch?
At first, no, it was really hard. But then now, the more I've been doing it, it's pretty easy to keep calm and keep level-headed while I'm trying to focus on what I'm doing at the same time.
That's a pretty important life lesson in general. And as someone who's about to be a father, what a cool thing to teach your kid, right? This is how we don't focus on the bad things. We focus on the good things, and not to be too self-critical with ourselves.
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
Can you, is it possible at all for you to teach me that?
I can do my best.
I'm gonna go with no.
Michelle's been trying for a while now, and it's not working. It's not getting through here.
It takes a lot.
Well, it takes a lot of desire, right? So like you have to admit, first of all, that you have room to improve in this area. That a lot of people focus on the mechanics, right? Like, well, I got to practice more. I got to get more drills. And for you to say like, I need to grow here. What helped you get to that conclusion?
I mean, I knew I had the talent to get me pretty far from the work I've been putting in and continue to put in, but I just wasn't taking that next step. And I had to really figure out what that next step was because I didn't know at the time. And then I was, like I said, I was reading up on the books and stuff. And then it clicked that I need to just start doing this. And that's been what I've been doing every day since.
Oh, music to my ears.
That's really cool because we were just speaking with Tanner. Like we said then, it's one thing to be 125 in the world and get to the top 75. It's another thing to go from top 75 to the top 25. But where you're located in world rankings and as far as your name in the game, it's super hard to move up one spot, another spot, because the people you're around are also just as talented as you are. But for you to find that about yourself, because look, we've asked other people, we've asked other players that are kind of in your world, what do you work on? And both players tonight that are kind of in this realm of top 10 players have both said it's much more mental than it is physical. And I'm not sure everyone realizes that at your level.
Oh, without a doubt.
I think they realize it, but I don't think they know what to do with it, right?
That's a good point. No, that's a good point. I mean, I've got to work on my mental game, but what do I do? And I think sometimes people get intimidated by the thing. Like, not a lot of people like to look inside themselves.
Right.
I know. I've realized this.
Because it's scary.
I don't get it. But
it's scary in there.
It's scary in there. I would agree with that, but if you're motivated enough, right? So, Devin, you obviously are motivated enough to say, I don't want to be top 20. I want to be top 5. And what's that going to take?
Yeah, that's pretty much where I was at. I was tired of just being a top 20 player. I want to be the one that they talk about every weekend. That's my end goal. And that's going to continue to be my goal throughout the season.
So what actually is kind of a silly question, but like what motivates you the most? Like obviously there's money in this game, there's accolades, there's a lot going on. So what motivates you the most?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean,
it's a good question.
I guess what motivates me is I want to be one of the best to ever play the game. So like I want to go down as one of the best to ever do it, and that's my outlook on it, I guess. That's my motivation.
Have you had that like motivation in anything else in your life, or is this the first area where you've really had that?
I did back in school when I played baseball, but it's been a very long time since I've had that desire to chase something. And even when I started cornhole, up till recently, I didn't really have that. I wanted to be the best to do it, but I wasn't taking that next step to do it. And I think that's the difference between now and back then is I took that next step. I'm still in the process of taking the next step to continue to do that.
Do you remember when that switch was? When you went from like, okay,
I want to. She's going to get it all out of you now. Now that you flipped her switch, it's on now.
I mean, it was probably a year and a half, 2 years ago or so, is when I really started like it clicked that I need to like figure out what that next step is I need to take. And it's been a long time consuming process, but I think it's going to pay off in the long run.
Yeah.
Well, did you ever have the thought process of, all right, well, everyone watches me throw bags. Everyone's looking at me because of the shots I can hit, because of my arm talent, if you will. Maybe it's time. I mean, did you have like a really conscious thought, like, they're watching me anyway. They know how good I am, but maybe they think they can get to me during a game. Maybe they think they can make me make a mistake. Did you realize that, if I shut that door down on other players, they know then they're in trouble? If they know they can't get to me on the court and there's nothing they can do to kind of get in my head, they know from a talent for talent perspective, there's only a handful of people that can really stay with me on the board. That has to be a big mental edge for you now.
Oh, definitely. Because I know, like, in my mind, going up to a match, I'm going to drag that game out as long as I have to do my best to get it done. And there's only, like you said, a handful of players that can go that long still throwing that good. So, like, if I can drag the game out, I think I'm going to be more successful like that.
And so dragging the game out to you, does that mean a more defensive game, or is there something else that goes into your mind to do that?
I'm sliding bags in the hole. So I'm not trying to block. Is like, I'm just sliding them in. I'm going to let them try to block, and then I'll just try to push through it if anything. I'm just trying to make them miss completely out of the way. Make them miss their block, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a question for you that's kind of off this topic. Considering how talented a player you are, if you take yourself out of it, and we're going to take Derek out of it since he's your partner, who's your favorite player to watch, or favorite couple of players to watch?
That's tough. I mean, I probably have a top three. I like Tony, Alex Hicks, and Windsor.
Mm-hmm.
I like watching those three. They're fun to watch. They've got all the shots. And
what rookies are you keeping your eye on this season?
I'm actually teaming up with Fisher Hamilton at the next Open in Rhode Island. So
that's unfair. That's unfair.
And then in the teams event, we haven't announced our lineups yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm playing with Justin Burton Jr. So I'm excited about that.
I bet they're excited about that.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
I would assume. That's awesome. Yeah, those are some good. We got some good rookies.
What's the chat got for us? Does the chat have like a special question for Devin Harbaugh?
Yes, but I was not going to ask it, but I'll just go with it. Ask Devin if he prefers to fist bump or slap butts after a 4-bagger.
I like to keep it to a fist bump if that's the choice I choose from.
Shocking answer. Yeah. No.
All right. So we asked this question earlier, Devin, for our other guest. You're Devin Harbaugh. You're looking at this tournament. What is the level that you feel you've had a good tournament? Is it winning a bracket? Is it winning the whole thing and anything else I did not play well enough? Is it finishing top 2 or 3 in your bracket? Like at what point do you feel that you've had a good run in this first national?
I mean, ultimately, I want to win it. That's my end goal. That should be everybody's as a competitor.
Sure.
But I mean, if I go out there and I play to my capabilities and I play good, and people just out throw me those games, I'm not gonna hate. I'm not gonna be mad about it. But I would say I'd be a little upset if I finished less than 3rd in my bracket, considering.
Yeah.
That was the general consensus there, wasn't it?
I mean, I figure if you play well, 3rd in your bracket is probably a foregone conclusion, but I don't want to jinx it.
Well, I appreciate that.
I did get another question, or 2 questions. One, how many bags a day do you throw?
I mean, I don't really keep track of bags a day. I throw for a couple hours.
A couple hours. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what do you expect becoming a new parent?
I mean, it's going to be hard, but I'm looking forward to the new challenges, and I'm ready to bring her around the tournaments and teach her how to play.
That's
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Well, my dogs have revealed my green screen, so just exposed everything about my backdrop. But no, we are out of time. Devin, it's been awesome catching up with you. We're going to take a quick commercial and come back. Bernie and I are going to wrap everything up. But Devin, good luck, and we'll see you in just a few days here.
Make me look good.
I'm going to do my best, Bernie.
See you, buddy.
See ya.
All right. During the commercial break, I repaired my faux wall. All is well.
Nice. All
Gotta
right,
love
all right. You have to tell me. You got to give me who's your pick to win singles and who's your pick to win doubles.
Well, I picked Devin Harbaugh, but like on I hot take, so I got to stay with that.
Yeah.
And then doubles, I'm gonna go with Jamie Graham, Matt Guy. I know that's not like a sexy pick, but that's who I think will do it.
Mine is almost exactly the same. I think Devin's just playing at another level. If I had a dark horse though, I mean, it's kind of hard to say anyone outside the top 10. You know, if you pick someone inside the top 10, it's not really a dark horse. My brain just went blank. Just won the Canadian Open.
Oh, Joe Neisted.
Yes. Do not be surprised if Joe Neisted.
I picked him. So my hot take. Oh, I can't tell you because that comes out tomorrow.
Yeah,
Listen to my hot take. Is Joe K related?
Doubles. Gosh. I'm really right there with you. I think Matt Guy has a lot to prove right now. I think he feels like like kind of time to show these young whippersnappers what's really going on. And he and Jamie are such a dominant pairing. So I'm right there with you. Actually, I hate to say it, but we have the exact same pick, Devin and Matt.
Well, I mean, there's a reason. I think that I already believed in Devin, and you can prove that if you go back and listen to Around the ACL, I think 2 or 3 episodes when I picked him for singles. Yeah. But even just now hearing how much effort he's putting in the mental game, I'm like sold even more.
I know. I was watching your face glow when he started talking about that. That's awesome.
Exciting stuff. All right. Well, that's all we got time for today. Tune in this weekend for all the awesome cornhole action on ACL Cornhole TV. We have 3 broadcasts, 2 on CBS Sports Network, 1 on ESPN2. So much cornhole to watch. So get ready for it all. I know I'm ready for it.
Yes, ma'am.
Bernie, I know you're ready for it. So we will see you all then. Enjoy your evenings. Until next time.